All right, we will go ahead and get started. I know some people will still be joining us, but that is okay. So good morning, ACE interns, parents and guardians, mentors, special guests, teacher monitors, staff, and the Saturday Academy board. Welcome to ACE's biggest event of the year. My name is Mara, and I'm the program coordinator for Saturday Academy's apprenticeships in science and engineering, and I'm elated to open the 2021 Symposium. We join today to relish in the accomplishments of this year's ACE interns. Despite the many challenges of the past summer, our interns and mentors have not ceased to move the needle on STEM innovation. Today, our interns will give us a sneak peek into what they have been up to the past 8 weeks. But first, this morning, we will hear from a great keynote speaker, recognize some folks who make this program possible, and then I will set forth some directions for how this virtual conference will work. After that, we will have a brief 15-minute break, and you will be free to join the interns in their respective Zoom rooms. To remind you, Saturday Academy, for over 35 years and counting, develops creative, confident, and curious critical thinkers by engaging students in socially conscious and equitable science, technology, engineering, art, and math experiences. Since 1983, we've sparked curiosity, connected our community, and empowered students to become the innovative thinkers and problem solvers of the next generation. Through partnerships with many organizations, many represented here today, we've served over 190,000 students in our classes, camps, and internships. Today is a celebration of the hard work and commitment of our 69 high school interns from 33 different high schools located across the United States. While some of our students consider summer a break from the rigors of learning, ACE interns have doubled down on their learning, giving their time, talents, eagerness, insights, and focus to further their career prospects, as well as contribute meaningfully to projects hosted by 23 different mentoring organizations. And what a summer of learning for both our interns and mentors, finding creative ways to work remotely or hybrid in person with ever-changing guidance on COVID precautions. You've all shown your dedication to being the problem solvers, thinkers, inventors, and teachers our community needs each and every day this summer. This competitive program has been around for over 30 years. Over the past 30 years, the ACE program has had over 4,000 interns. This program would not be possible without the commitment, dedication, and passion of a few hundred mentors. We cannot thank our mentors enough for their time, creativity, flexibility, and willingness to open their workplaces, and even create some new virtual workspaces to high school student interns for the summer. I'm excited to celebrate some big milestones for our mentors in the upcoming ACE recognition ceremony. However, at this time, I'm honored to introduce you to our keynote speaker for the 2021 Symposium, Dr. Xiao-Yue Han. Dr. Han is currently a fourth-year surgical resident at Oregon Health and Science University, but prior to that was an engineer in Bend. He's a graduate of Westview High School, and in 2007 participated in ACE in the Cardiac Fluid Dynamics and Imaging Lab in Pediatric Cardiology at OHSU under David Sahn, developed an in vitro model to study cardiac mechanisms and dynamics using ultrasound. He feels passionately about mentorship, teaching, and strengthening the path to STEM careers. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Xiao-Yue Han.
Thank you so much for that kind introduction, and congratulations to all of the ACE teams and interns and mentors. It's really incredible what you've accomplished. Let me just take a moment to share my screen and then bring up the chat feature. All right, feel free to interrupt me at any time. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So as Maura mentioned, my name is Dr. Han. I'm one of the fourth-year surgery residents at OHSU. I'm an alumni of Westview High School, and I was stoked to see a bunch of Westview students continuing to participate in the ASE program. I'm an alumni of the ASE program when I was in high school, and I attribute a lot of my initial success and trajectory to the ACE program. So I'm very grateful to be here and excited to hear about some of the talks that you guys are all giving today. So first off, I have no financial disclosures, and there are not going to be any gory photos, no intraoperative or surgery photos in this talk. This is a photo of my wife and me and our two dogs. My wife and I met in high school, became good friends, dated in college, and then got married in medical school. So if I just wanted to put this photo in here, just let you all know, share a little bit about who I am and kind of where I come from and who my family is. So I have a couple of objectives for my talk. The first is a call to action. We really need you to engage as you are already and to continue to do so. The second objective is to celebrate you, your team, and your work. The third objective is to give you an example of my path to where I am today, to share some thoughts on the importance of mentorship and the importance of teaching. So with that, a call to action. So as you know, we're in a global pandemic, and unfortunately with the Delta variant, things are getting worse, not better. You can see multiple spikes in terms of prevalence of the disease, and despite aggressive vaccinations and changes in personal behavior, we have significant rise in both local, state, nationwide, and worldwide COVID infectivity. This is a very challenging time to be a high school student, and a challenging time to innovate. Additionally, our institutions are under siege. I think one of the things that you guys have grown up in as Gen Z is that you haven't really seen functional institutions. You've seen a lot of gridlock and infighting and difficulty with kind of realization of America's institutions. Additionally, since y'all have been born, we've been at war. The photo on the left is 9/11. I remember I was a middle school student in 6th grade when the two towers came down. And I remember that moment viscerally. And since that moment, the United States has been on a war footing since that time. Recently, with the withdrawal of US forces in Afghanistan, there have been significant challenges in that country. Additionally, you need not look further than Portland to see the increased violence and social justice reckoning happening across our country. These are some news headlines from just a few days ago regarding protests in Portland and the increased gun violence in Portland that has been the deadliest since 1994. Furthermore, the UN's climate report paints a very bleak picture in terms of human-derived climate change that could impact how our society functions in the future. Right now, we're in the middle of a heat wave. And there are limits to modern technology. Fully vaccinated people are still getting COVID. There's diseases for which we have no apparent cure for. With all this said, there's so many challenges across the world, in our community and in our country. What's there to do? There's tremendous hope. These are 3 pictures. On the left, this is an email I just got from our Dean of Students, Sharon Anderson. Dr. Anderson is talking about how the OHSU Physician Assistant Program graduated nearly 40 students, and all 40 students are serving their community now at a time of great need. This is Greta Thunberg, and you know her from her climate activity work. And I think, Oregon has a strong track record of social justice and innovation. This is Linus Pauling. He's the only person to have won 2 Nobel Prizes, one in science and the other in a Nobel Prize for peace. And so I think there's tremendous hope. There's a tremendous track record within Oregon for addressing many of the problems that are afflicting our world. And that really starts with you, your work, and your team. I was going through some of the incredible work that you all are doing, and there are over 60 projects that are going to be presented today. I'm really proud of what you've accomplished, and you continue to make Saturday Academy's apprenticeships in science and engineering one of the preeminent high school internship programs in the country. The work is incredibly impressive. I've had to Google multiple project titles to even get a handle of what you all are working on. Finish your strong work. I look forward to your talks, and take some time to enjoy the summer. So there are a couple of talks that particularly stuck out to me. Joshua Bishop is going to be talking about how to teach CS with board games. I'll be in that topic and learning about that. And then I see that Jordan Kim is a student at Westview High School. So I just want to give a shout out to Westview High School. Here are some additional photos from this year's interns, and just the work you guys are doing is incredible. So, Aaron Lee from Sunset High School at HP is using a computer vision program to reduce false negatives in his plants process. And I didn't even know what a false negative was in high school. So the work that you guys are doing is truly incredible. These are some additional project titles: using neutron activation to measure heavy metal pollution. A storm is worth 1,000 numbers, unraveling 7 years of storm data. I can't even pronounce half the words in this title, but it's using virulence gene regulation to evaluate the signals of different secreted moieties. Python-based system for detecting trail hazards in Forest Park. Methamphetamine consumption in the mouse model. The Bonneville Power Administration's use of financial analysis of credit to manage risk. The high-tech operating room, solutions for efficiency and patient safety. This may be a reference that is a little dated, but Carly Rae Jepsen's Call Me Maybe came to mind when I saw the title of this talk. In all, there are over 60 amazing talks. And one of the things that really occurred to me when looking through your talks is just who the people are behind these talks. You, the interns, your parents, your teachers, the mentors, and their teams have really come together to make all of these 60+ projects possible. And I just think if you think about just how much tremendous coordination and work has gone into developing you and making your summer effective and useful, it's really an incredible feat. So I just want to say congratulations on your incredible work. Next, I want to talk about my path so far, a trail map, so to speak. I was born in Harbin, China, in a small town of 8 million. We immigrated from China to the United States when I was 2. And these photos, this is a photo of the mud kind of building I was born in and grew up in. This we went back to visit about when I was 15, and the mud building now has electricity, but didn't before. This is a photo of me when I was younger, and my brother, who really was my first mentor. He inspired an early love of science and math, applied science and math. He's now he was an engineer at Tesla and is now at another company doing energy innovation work in California. I moved to Oregon and went to Westview High School, and I was a Wildcat. Are we still good at sports? I'm not sure, but this is a photo of a Brain Bowl championship team that I was part of. During my time at Westview High School, I participated in the ASE program. So I worked in David Sahn's lab, who's an OHSU pediatric cardiologist. And we developed a water bath that allowed us to study cardiac mechanics and dynamics in an in vitro model. So kind of taking the model outside of a living organism and putting it in this water bath. So we're basically simulating the contraction of a couple of the chambers of the heart and using ultrasound to see how good was ultrasound at detecting real data with regards to how the heart functioned. This is a really important experience for me. I think it enabled me to see how math and science could be used to solve clinical problems that matter to people. And it really gave me the model of who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do with my life. The work in our lab and creating this in vitro model generated multiple national and international publications, and our platforms used for years to come. Dr. Sahn has since retired, but he has been a long-standing mentor for the ASE program, and I'm so grateful to have been in his lab. These are a couple of photos of Dr. Sahn. But one of his efforts is really a part of Saturday Academy's ASE program, and he also puts on international conferences for adult congenital heart disease, and over 100 people from across the world came to Skamania Lodge to participate in Dr. Sahn's conference. And one of the things that Dr. Sahn does is with both the ASE interns and during these conferences is to take everyone out to the gorge for a hike. And one of the many lessons that Dr. Sahn taught me was my early love of nature. He really inspired and solidified that love of nature. And so I think one of the things that is really powerful about mentors is they're not just teachers or transfers of knowledge. They are role models for us and inspire us and grow us. So then I went to, after high school and the ASE program, went to college, had developed an early love of biochemistry and applied engineering, and subsequently worked as a chemical engineer at Bend Research, which is now Lonza. At Bend Research, we use something called spray dryers to increase the efficacy or the effect of different drugs that are being brought to market. So as you know, table salt dissolves very easily. You can drink it, and you have your body is able to absorb it. Many of our new drugs are not very soluble, and so this is one of the ways to make that drug soluble and therefore bioavailable for people. On the left is a photo of a experimental bioreactor that I was in charge of running. And our work was really around how do we improve the quality and the throughput of protein drugs that were being developed by a variety of different companies, Amgen, Pfizer, you name it. We were developing this platform technology. And as part of that work, I was the lead designer of a $15 million at-line biotech lab, which is an incredible opportunity. Just a quick note, Bend Research was a ASE site pre-COVID, and I hope that they continue to participate in the years to come. You know, I transitioned from engineering to medicine in a similar way to how kind of ASE developed my nascent love of applied science and math. You know, I think one of the really cool things about engineering is you get to do science and math that matters. You get to translate that knowledge into a new thing, whether it's a new process or a new product. And I think one of the things for me is I realized that I wanted to continue to do that, but in a way that was a little bit more direct. And so I thought patient care was a unique way to do that. And so I went back to medical school in 2014 and graduated at the top of my class in 2018 and matched to OHSU for general surgery training, where I'm currently a general surgery resident. At the time, in medical school, I continued my work in innovations. This is in the middle, this is one of our posters that we presented in Barcelona. This is a method to design aortic valves personalized to the geometry of children who are born with bicuspid aortic valves. And so I developed a pathway to kind of develop a personalized aortic valve. This work was submitted to the patent office, and we just heard back that it's been accepted with revisions. You get to do some really cool stuff. This is my wife who joined me in Barcelona during this conference. This is my mentor, Dr. Silverbach, who is kind of retiring pediatric cardiologist at OHSU. And this is my wife and I at a FC Barcelona game. So you get to do some really cool stuff with science and engineering and math, and it will take you places. So what I do now is a lot more clinical medicine. This is a photo of me with all 5 pages of the surgical services from St. Vincent. Here are a couple of my surgery mentors and colleagues. In the bottom right here, when I was a medical student, Danny Labis was my intern, Kelly Hazley is my chief, and now Danny is a chief. Kelly is an attending over at Ohio State. She's a board certified general surgeon. And now instead of being a medical student or an intern, I'm one of the senior residents. I think it's just really incredible how quickly the time has gone by. And I think I couldn't have done it without an army. And so this is kind of a busy slide, but lists all the different people who were important in my life in terms of my career development and personal development. And with that, I kind of want to transition to the importance of mentorship. Frodo didn't get there alone, as a Lord of the Rings reference. So some notes about mentorship. Successful professionals have multiple mentors. One of my faculty talked to us about creating a personal board of trustees for you. These board members can change, and really having multiple mentors broadens your perspective and increases the creativity with which you approach development for yourself and also how you problem solve. What I personally look for in a mentor is charisma, something, and then that's just for me because I have a higher likelihood of a personality match. I think the real key for a mentor is their devotion and level of devotion to their profession and to developing others. And the last is I look for a mentor who's available. Developing strong mentorships is a skill. Sometimes the fit is not good. Sometimes the fit is great. Sometimes the mentor is not available. And so it takes skill to develop in a high yield mentorship relationship. So I think in terms of mentorship, there are a couple of things. There's the mentor, the mentee, and the mentorship relationship. I think there are attributes to each of these that's important in making an effective mentorship. So for instance, the mentor should be available. They have a genuine interest in developing people, and they're willing to share their successes and their failures. They have expertise, knowledge, or skills that can aid the mentee. But the key here is a genuine interest in developing people. And that's what you all have in your mentors as part of the ASE program. As a mentee, I think being committed to your own development and the development of the program is really important. Being clear in your goals, what do you need from your mentor? And if the need is, I need help clarifying my goals, that's important. As a mentee, it's important to know when to ask for help and be open to failure, to be vulnerable. And the last thing is really to be responsible and accountable. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you're going to accept a project, follow up. And then looking at the mentorship relationship, this is really kind of the dynamic part of mentorship. And this is building rapport and trust is kind of the foundation of this relationship, but then setting an agenda, goals, and then reflecting on how did you do, how effective was the advice, and how can the relationship be improved to help you achieve your goals. So I also wanted to distinguish mentors from advisors. So advisors evaluate your current situation, they make a recommendation. A teacher transfers knowledge in addition to many other things. A colleague is someone who's in the trenches with you. And a sponsor is someone who has higher power and they kind of have the resources to kind of connect you to your next opportunity, to kind of set you up to bat. A mentor is someone who develops you and is devoted to you and your success as a person, as you define it and redefine it without thought of personal gain. And I think one of the things that you'll come to realize is that you are likely a mentor to someone right now, whether it's underclassmen or folks in middle school, or if you're participating in a sport or a science activity, you are transferring knowledge, you are developing other people as part of your work. And I think that kind of gets to the importance of teaching, giving back, and learning teachability. So in surgery, we talk about see one, do one, teach one in terms of a procedure. In reality, it's much more nuanced than that. We don't just see one, do one, and then teach one. But this is one of my co-residents, Dr. Affleck. He's doing a colonoscopy with our good friend Ella. And here he is teaching one of our other colleagues, Dr. Glazier, how to do a common bile duct exploration. They're kind of teaching each other how to do this in the OHSU simulation lab. And so I think, and then here, Dr. Arvind G, who's a trauma surgeon, is teaching all of us how to carve a turkey here in November. And so he's seeing a lab dedicated to how to carve a turkey, a bunch of chief residents, another attending physician. And so the thing that is so important in medicine, in engineering, math, science, And art is, as you learn, you also teach. And so I think this is a good example of how we are all learners. So this is me during my intern year, my first year out of medical school, and Dr. Kurchiko, who is a third-year chief at the time and is now an attending physician down in Grants Pass. This is Jess Ballou and Heather Hoops. This is my junior resident and chief resident, and Dr. Hoops is now a trauma surgeon at OHSU. Dr. Ballou is a plastic surgery fellow at Johns Hopkins. This is Dr. Wers here. She was the Dean of Student Affairs for graduate studies at OHSU, is now continuing her work in teaching and growing young people. This is on the left, pediatric surgery fellow, Katie, who's now an attending over at Chicago. Dr. Azro was the section head of pediatric surgery, is now the chair of surgery at OHSU. And here's another picture of me in intern year. And I think one of the crazy things to me is just how now, as a senior resident, I am the one teaching a lot of our medical students and also our early residents. And so I just remember as an intern looking up to my third year, my fourth year, my chief, and just being so impressed with how they were able to balance both clinical care and teaching duties. And I think, this slide is just to show that we are all learners, we are all teachers, and you'll be a teacher sooner than you think. One of the corollaries of this teaching ethos is that I think it really helps build institutions. Your teaching strengthens institutions, and your teachability strengthens institutions. Some thoughts about teaching. We are all teachers, so when you transfer knowledge, when you share what you know, you're teaching. When you provide a different perspective that's unique, that's teaching. I think that there's something important between in switching between teaching and learning. Teaching allows you to be a better learner, and being a learner allows you to be a better teacher. And I think the last point that I'll make is teachability is important. It's the first thing I look for in recruiting future physicians and surgeons. Teachability is something that can be learned, practiced, and improved, and it really relies on humility and discernment. You will all be teaching each other and us today. So these are just a couple of the many 60+ talks that will be happening today. I'm looking forward to seeing how Monopoly is going to help me learn CS. And then some closing thoughts. Your work solves problems. Your mentorship and mentee relationships build bridges. Your teaching strengthens institutions. Your devotion will change the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hahn. And I would encourage everybody to, yes, use the chat, use the reactions at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And since I am unmuted, I get to applause. Thank you so much. My name is Rachel Pecor Valdez. I am the programs director for Saturday Academy. And I get to take us into the next part, which is our symposium recognition ceremony. Brief pause before we do that, though. I do want to hear from interns and our guests. If there's any questions for Dr. Hahn, please put them in the chat. I know it's early, but go ahead. Dr. Hahn, what is an unexpected lesson you got from the ACE program?
That's a good question. I think one of the things was really around institution, and what I didn't realize at the time, at the time I was just focused on doing the work and solving the technical problem that we were faced with, and getting abstracts out and publishing. I think on reflection, the thing that ACE truly taught me was the importance of building that community. Dr. Sahn really had an incredible impact on my life at that point. My trajectory based on, where I was from, my socioeconomic status did not project me to become an engineer or a physician. And I think the mentorship of Dr. Sahn and his ability to create community around his lab, his work, and his people is really one of the things that I take away from the ACE program and on deeper reflection. So when going forward, not only when I think about mentoring students and residents, I not only think about how do I help them achieve their goals, but how am I going to build that institution of collaboration and that community that Dr. Sahn did for me? Because I think that was really the thing that allowed me to be as successful as I am.
Thank you. And how about from Colton? I have heard med school, advanced college is expensive. Do you have any tips to deal with student debt? It's a great one.
That's a great question. That's an active area of consternation. There are significant changes at the legislature that may occur in terms of student loan forgiveness programs and or zero interest loans that Senator Rubio has presented. It's a challenge. What I will say though is, to give you specifics, I graduated with $190,000 worth of debt. With interest is now $230,000. I expect that will not be a problem based on attending salaries. The average income of a physician, of a medical physician, is anywhere from $250,000 to $350,000 starting. For surgeons, it's anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000 starting. And so it's a hard number to wrap your mind around. But I think one of the really rewarding things about being math, science, engineering is the financial payoff for the most part is there. In terms of what to do now, finding as many scholarships as you can, work study programs, and really considering costs when you're looking at different colleges will be important. I think it's always okay to, you get this awesome acceptance letter from, so-and-so university, you're stoked to get your first acceptance, and you look at the financial aid package, it's like, man, it's gonna be really hard to go there. It's okay to email them and say like, I would love to come here. Are there any additional options for financial aid? You can always find additional money.
Thank you. And from Oscar, do you think your ACE internship helped you decide what you wanted to do in the future?
Absolutely. I think, people think about silos, about I want to be an engineer, or I want to be an artist, or I want to be a certain. I think my time in the ACE program taught me you can be many things all at the same time. And so it definitely helped me on my path to becoming a surgeon engineer.
And from Tom, it appears you have maintained a lot of meaningful relationships with peers and mentors. What practical tips do you have for keeping in touch with your contacts? That's a great question.
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think one of the things I try to do is to send email updates or text updates or calls or even letters at different points in my life. So when for instance, when I got into medical school, when I finished medical school and matched to general surgery training, when I got married, I have a list of mentors I always reach out to kind of update them on kind of life events. And that's kind of one of the ways I keep in touch with my contacts. As a general surgery resident, we work from 70 to 80 hours a week. So it's fairly challenging, but there are times to decompress and it's kind of create time for that.
And from Linda, what recommendations would you have for a student applying to med school? That's a big question.
Yeah, that's a kind of a loaded question. I think the important thing is to continue doing what you are already doing. I think demonstrating enthusiasm and interest in developing your arc, developing a story is really important to the person sitting across from you. when they're considering whether or not to allow you into their training program. Medical education is very expensive, both for you as the learner and also for the institution in our society. If the match is not good, that's a physician spot that could have otherwise gone filled. And so one thing is to make sure that you're going into medicine for the right reasons. Money is not the reason to go into medicine, and it will not sustain you. And so I think a true devotion to patient care and is really important to demonstrate even before medical school. I think the other thing is kind of related to my talk is this idea of teachability. A lot of medical students now who are applying have cured cancer. They've gone into Teach for America and created incredible programs, and you kind of feel like, oh my gosh, what do we as OHSU or any medical school have to offer this candidate? And some applicants are significantly hindered by hubris and kind of a lack of teachability, and that comes across very easily during an interview. And so demonstrating your teachability, I think, is really important, because you're going to medical school to learn, and if you're not teachable, we're not gonna let you in.
That's really interesting. From Raghib, what do you recognize when you are in a mentor position?
I think,
or excuse me, how do you recognize when you're in a mentor position?
Yeah, well, I think it's one way to do it is to recognize it is that you've sought it out. The opportunity has kind of availed itself to you. So like in high school, you might be involved in teaching some of the middle school programs, or in sports, you might be a varsity player, and some of the junior varsity players are looking to you to improve their skill. A lot of these, especially at a young age, happen organically. Sometimes it's hard to tell when you're in that mentor-mentee relationship, and sometimes it can go both ways. I think so. I think especially at a young age, it's sometimes difficult to tell, but important to think about. It's important to ask, am I a mentor for this person? Am I doing the best I can to develop this person in the way that other mentors have developed me?
Thank you. And from Amelia, being accessible as a mentor is something you emphasized. How do you balance focusing on personal responsibilities and being accessible as a mentor?
This is really important. I think a lot of, first I'll say it's challenging. It's challenging to balance all the different things that you're responsible for. And I think as a good mentor, it's important to realize when you have run out of bandwidth to be an effective mentor to other people. And I think if someone comes to you for a mentorship relationship and you don't have that bandwidth, it's important to let them know, it's like, hey, I don't have the bandwidth to mentor you now, but I have 3 other people that you should talk to who would be jazzed to speak with you and who have expertise in the areas that you're interested in. And for instance, like right now, I'm on research here, and so my hours are significantly improved from when I'm a clinical resident, and so I have significant bandwidth for mentorship now. And so I think it's just important to communicate and recognize when you have that bandwidth, and to do justice to your mentee and to your mentor, to communicate that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any last questions before we move on to what I call the clapping part, the recognition ceremony? Great, thank you, everyone. So I think drawing on Dr. Han's and the question here about meaningful relationships and maintaining those contacts, a big part of that is recognizing people and thanking them. So For the next portion, I will be recognizing a number of people and groups that make our program and today's symposium possible. And so in lieu of clapping and a resounding applause, I'd ask you all to use the chat. And if you hear your name, please open your camera and wave so that we can see you. So for over 30 years, the ACE program has relied on all kinds of individual support, including volunteers, teacher monitors, mentors, donors, activity sponsors, staff, and school career counselors. In short, it takes a whole community to provide high school students with real-world, in-depth internships and a look at what's possible in science and engineering fields. As the program's director, I'm a part of a larger team that manages all the nuts and bolts in the infrastructure, like recruitment, application processing, training, events like today, idea generation, the stipends. It takes a lot of details to make this program run. And I would like to thank all of the Saturday Academy staff that help make this program possible. So please join me in thanking Jackie, Eric, Melissa, Mara, Sandy, Emily, and Walter. Thank you all. I am so grateful for the Saturday Academy team. The Saturday Academy team also includes our very active and engaged board of directors for their support. Thank you. If you are here, please wave. And programs like ACE and the Symposium would not be possible without the financial aid and in-kind support of our many mentors, donors, foundations, and corporate sponsors that support ACE and out-of-school learning. So a big thank you to the James and Shirley Rippey Family Foundation, the Olseth Family Foundation, the M&L Libert Charitable Fund, and Collins Aerospace. I also want to thank our conference supporter, IBM, and our institutional affiliate, University of Portland. Thank you, thank you. Speaking of making this program possible as well, I want to thank each and every mentor organization who braved the unknowns of COVID-19 and opened your workplaces to interns this summer. You have made a huge impact on students, and I'm really pleased to call you our partners in mentorship. Thank you, mentor organizations. At Saturday Academy, we depend on many volunteers as well for outreach events, office support, and more. To name a few ACE volunteers, thank you, Dr. Kathy Law at STEM Academy in Corvallis for all your support and student recruitment. Thank you to everyone who led presentations for the Midsummer Conference, Dr. Skip Rockfort, Shelby Serpenant, Brisa Sable, Annika Check, Audrey Davis, Diana Gordon, Kyle Edick, Wu Cheng Feng, Sina Meyer, Bergen Sather. We also had help from a Pacific International Academy volunteer, Sean Kaw. Thank you. And thank you as well to those who jumped in and led presentations for our Lunch and Learn series this summer. It's the first time we did that, and it's been going very well. Thank you, Melanie Moeller, Dave Squire, Jackie Wirtz again, Ellie Juarez, Hazel Valdez. Thank you for all your time introducing interns to different STEM fields. Additionally, each summer we work with a select group of excellent educators who support interns and mentorings directly as needed through their learning journey. We call them teacher monitors. And we want to recognize 8 who, through your unique combination of communication, documentation, diplomacy, and problem solving, help ensure a quality experience. So please join me in thanking your teacher monitors: Caroline, Dwee, Mike, John, Linda, Stacy, Scott, and Jen. I'm going to just add a bunch of names there. And most importantly, to our mentors and co-mentors, you are the life of this program. Our program is the foundation, and your projects, time, and mentorship of high school interns is the structure built upon that. You create a life-changing experience for our interns. At the heart of our program are the relationships you develop over the summer and beyond. So thank you for your commitment to education and the future of STEM fields. For those mentors that have reached a special milestone for serving multiple years, it's now time to recognize you, and I will hand the mic back to Mara, so to speak, to recognize you now. Once again, thank you to everyone who makes this possible.
Yes, to echo Rachel, thank you so much. And we're going to move forward to recognize some mentors who have reached important milestones. So in recognition of 5 years of service as an ACE mentor, Mr. Tom Smith at Vernier Software and Technology in Beaverton, Oregon. If you're here, please wave. Mr. Smith has directly mentored or co-mentored 6 interns in his time with ACE. I know from experience your kindness and dedication to mentorship, and from interns and teacher monitors just how wonderful of an experience you create for your interns. So thank you so much. Thank you for your 5 years. In recognition of 10 years. Oh, and Mr. Smith, we will be sending you a keychain, a very special ACE keychain very soon in the mail. So you can carry that around proudly in celebration of your 5 years. In recognition of 10 years as an ACE mentor, Dr. Lex Musinski at the Department of Wood and Science Engineering at Oregon State University. Here is Dr. Musinski pictured with his interns Andrew and Sarita in 2013. In his 10 years as a mentor, Dr. Musinski has directly mentored or co-mentored 17 students. Dr. Musinski is so giving to his interns and has spoken to our teacher monitors about how this program is one of the highlights of his years. Well, Dr. Musinski, for those 17 students, I think you are the highlight of their year. So in recognition of your 10 students, I will be sending you a very special 10-year celebration plaque. This will be in the mail to you shortly. Thank you so much for your 10 years.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Another celebration of 10 years, Mr. Steve Reinhardt at HP in Corvallis. Here is Samuel, Mr. Reinhardt's 2017 intern. In his 10 years as a mentor, Mr. Reinhardt has directly mentored 10 students and has played a key role in creating internships for ACE at HP, giving many more students the opportunity to spend their summer there. And as you can see, Mr. Reinhardt does not cut any corners when it comes to making his interns feel welcome. There's a beautiful welcome sign there in the corner. So I know Mr. Reinhardt to be so giving to his ACE interns and so empathetic, and was very welcoming to me this year in my first year as this ACE coordinator. So Mr. Reinhardt, thank you on behalf of the many students you have impacted in your 10 years with ACE, and thank you on behalf of myself as well. You will also be receiving a very special 10 years plaque in the mail that you can display proudly. We are very grateful for your 10 years of service as well.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Moving on to 15 years, Dr. Wu Chang Fang at Portland State University at the Department of Computer Science. Here is Dr. Fang with his 2013 intern Chaitana, and here he is with his 2012 intern Logan. In his 15 years as a mentor, Dr. Fang has directly mentored or co-mentored, are you ready for a big number? 34 students. Not only has Dr. Fang given his time and dedication to his 34 students, but welcomes the opportunity to speak at engagements to many of our interns. At this year Midsummer Conference, Dr. Fang led a cryptocurrency race that was a hit. Thank you, Dr. Fang. In appreciation, we will be sending you a beautiful personalized pen, which designates your 15 years with ACE. So thank you for your time. And last, but certainly not least, we have Dr. Wu Chi Fang, also at Portland State University at the Department of Computer Science. Here's Dr. Fang with his 2013 intern Prachi, and here he is again with his 2019 intern Nathan. That is one of my favorite pictures. I love those smiles. In his 15 years as a mentor, Dr. Fang has directly mentored or co-mentored, another big number, 31 students. Dr. Fang's giving spirit never wavers, no matter the circumstances, and even the past 2 years, he has adjusted accordingly and gave all of his interns a summer to remember during these COVID times. That is an accomplishment to celebrate. Thank you, Dr. Fang. You will also be receiving in the mail a very special personalized 15-year pen to celebrate your time with ACE. Thank you. For all of our mentors and co-mentors, be it the first year with ACE or the 15th, your first intern or your 100th, I thank you for your individual efforts, which have made a massive collective impact. It takes an incredible number of people to support to make this program happen. Thank you to all of those who have contributed to make the ACE program and all of Saturday Academy's programs possible. We absolutely could not do without you. Another important group I must recognize is ACE interns. Today is the culmination of all of your hard work. From the first day where you had to maybe figure out the basics of how to join a work style Zoom meeting to today, where you are the experts in what you are going to present. You will be sharing your summer story and great accomplishments. I commend you all for your hard work in your internships, as well as preparing for today's symposium. Thank you for being here and supporting the work these high school students and their mentors have achieved in just 8 weeks. So I'm going to now move forward into the directions for the Zoom meetings. And in the meantime, if there is any questions, please don't hesitate to put those in the chat. And our staff members will answer them, but we will go ahead and get started with the presentations. So as we move into the presentation section of our conference, I'm going to offer just a couple directions and best practices for this particular event. During our break, Saturday Academy staff members will be launching the different presentation rooms. Interns, please head into your breakout rooms before your break so our staff can ensure that everyone gets to where they need to go. Parents, guardians, mentors, and guests are more than welcome to attend any and all of the presentation rooms. The link can be found on the main event page of our website next to each room number. If you are asked for a passcode at any point to access a meeting, it is capital ACE. That's capital A, capital S, capital E. No spaces or punctuation. If you'd like to call in via phone to any of these meetings, that information is also available for each room. Please note the call-in passcodes are different than the passcodes to join via link. As a guest, you will enter the room muted and with your camera off, but you are welcome to use the chat during the question and answer session for any of the presentations. We ask that you hold your chat messages until between presentations or during the Q&A session so that our presenters are not distracted during their presentations. We will be recording these presentations so mentors and others can access them after the live event. The videos will be posted to our website on the event navigation page, that same place, in the coming days. To find a specific mentor, organization, or intern, you can use the Control F command on your computer while on that navigation page to search for a keyword. Otherwise, you are welcome to peruse the list to find what you are looking for. If at any time you've lost a Zoom link or you can't find a presentation you are looking for, feel free to return to this main Zoom room. A Saturday Academy staff member will be here to help redirect you, or you can call us at 503-200-5860, and someone will be able to answer and connect you with where you need to go. Interns, once your room has completed all of your presentations, you are free to go and you do not have to return to this main room. Now, let's get to the event all of our interns are anxiously awaiting, the intern presentations. We are running a little bit ahead of schedule, so we're going to adjust accordingly. Our break was supposed to run from 10 to 10:15, and now we're going to run our break instead from about 9:30 to 9:45. So we'll go ahead and launch our presentations at 9:45. Staff, go ahead and please launch those presentation rooms and get ready to begin presentations at 9:45. Interns, please locate your room assignments and join the rooms before taking a break. Mentors, families, and guests, please feel free to join us back in those respective breakout rooms, whichever ones you choose to go to at 9:45. Best of luck to all interns. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the chat. Otherwise, feel free to head to your breakout rooms. Thank you so much.